Hello, I'm Alex.
And I'm Rylyn, which is a name.
And welcome back to Finger My Fanfic, your weekly fanfic fingering podcast that
we're getting in there.
We're really getting in there. And today we have two delightful tickling fics for you that tickle your fancy.
I'll tickle something.
I will tickle something indeed. And they are from personal favorite fandoms of the two of ourselves. From those teenage days, those angsty teenage days. And the first is Teen Wolf. So Rylyn, what can you tell me about Teen Wolf? Not the Michael J. Fox version from the 80s.
Well, there's a lot of sexy boys in there. And a lot of fangs. A lot of fur.
A lot of fur. Well, we don't like boys. So we're taking those boys, those sexy boys, and reading a fic, a genderbent Teen Wolf fic. Uh-huh. So the dudes are now chicks. Fabulous. Wonderful. What can you tell me about Steric?
Steric. Well, this would be Styles and Derek, two of the sexy ladies now. That hardly interacted in the real show.
And yet.
The
fandom decided soulmates. Absolute soulmates.
True soulmates.
But as females, it's more believable, I feel more believable.
We'll have to see.
How well the author, am I allowed to say the author? Frankie Raven. How well they portrayed our dear Styles and Derek, whose names do not change at all. I was like, you're not even going to try? Like, I don't know, what's an ST girl name? Stacy? Stephanie.
just you change them all.
Stella.
Stephanie and...
Diana. Dara.
Dracula.
I like that. Keeps the fangs.
Stephanie and Dracula.
I will respect.
Hey, following the theme.
Always follow the theme.
I'm impressed.
So this...
Were there vampires on?
Oh, I was actually always impressed that they never brought vampires on. It was always a werewolf show. We had other creepy crawlies. We had a fox character with tails.
I don't remember.
Did you get that far? Her name was Kira. She was Japanese.
Oh, no, I do remember her.
Yeah. We never actually saw the tail, though. So
She supposedly had a tail.
She supposedly had 9 tails. Isn't that how Kitsune. She was like a fox. Instead, she was just a foxy lady. We never actually got to see the fox part of her.
Okay, so that's the question. Is everybody gender bent in this fic?
I think it's just the two of them.
Everybody else is themselves.
I believe, if we encounter them, I'm not sure. I have not read this fic. You know how we love to do things off the cuff.
That is true.
So,
all right.
Prepare yourself, Rylyn.
That is the name.
I'm going to do my best to keep a straight face. Styles pored over the book in front of her. I'm reading as written.
Okay.
She had a finals tomorrow. A finals, and was not about to fail. Her warm brown eyes were clouding over as she scanned the same sentence too many times. Styles groaned and looked up from the textbook. She absentmindedly ran a hand through her straight brown locks. This is weird because Styles is shaved in the show, has no hair.
For the first part.
First, 3 seasons.
Yeah.
He's like, buzz cut.
Classic fanfic.
Classic.
Styles groaned, and then he absentmindedly did something. She. Do not misgender our dear Styles. Stephanie. They feel down her back in a messy pattern, even though she did nothing to help them. What am I even reading? I ask myself. She muttered to herself as she marked her page, flipping the book over in frustration to check. She scoffed when she saw the title of the book. Trigonometry. That's why I had no idea what I was reading. They've changed perspectives, okay. Rolling her eyes, she closed the book and slumped back into the chair that she was sitting in. Exhaustion poured over her as she took a moment to relax. So,
This looks like a lot of unnecessary, she'd had a hard day. She was struggling. Her best friend, Scott, was having too much trouble with his girlfriend. So Scott is still a dude. Not sure why.
Feeling a little wolfy.
Feeling a little wolfy. She had to negotiate some fight they were having. Then she had to go to cross country, which is always a CrossFit. Instead of lacrosse, but girls can play lacrosse. Why don't they keep Styles on the female lacrosse team? Yeah. Cross country is...
Women can do anything.
Women can do it too. When all of that was done, she had to come here. Styles opened her eyes. She scanned the empty library with abhorrence. Everything was too quiet, too peaceful. It made her ADHD act up and drove her crazy. Sadly, it was the only place willing to hire her at the moment. She's working, but she was studying for A finals tomorrow.
A finals.
Nobody was in here, and at this point, she thought nobody else was going to.
Going to what?
Going to what?
We'll never know.
I mean, who in their right mind would come to the library at 8:45 on a Tuesday?
Well, that's real late.
Yeah, but 8:45 on a Tuesday, they're still in high school, I guess, but have you seen college libraries at 8:45 on a Tuesday? They packed. Mm-hmm. They full. Unless they at the club on a Tuesday. The club. Styles closed her eyes again and relaxed further into the chair. She was so tired, and a nap sounded amazing right now. She drifted off, not even realizing it. And now we switch. Derek was rushing to the store to buy some milk. That's literally the first.
I was not at the time to take a sip of water.
To buy some milk. She and her younger sister Cora tried to make some cake, only to find there was no milk. Now she was on an emergency milk run, so they could finish the cake. Living downtown did have some perks, she thought to herself. She noted that after 9 at night, a lot of stores were still open. Walking faster down the street, she passed a small library that the town had. Derek, on occasion, took Cora there to get some books. As a middle schooler, however, she did not appreciate this at all. She glanced inside the library as she walked past it. Frowning, she noticed all the lights were still on, and the sign still said open. What? Derek said to herself as she peered even further into the window. She probably looked completely ridiculous. Her nose was touching the door of the glass, and her breath was causing fogged spots on the glass.
Because the lights were on?
I just pictured Wolf Derek just against the glass, like...
This is a reach, but alright.
Alright. Tentatively, Derek lifted her hand and knocked against the door. She waited, rocking back and forth in her combat boots. Nice touch. Pushing her hands further into the pockets of her black leather jackets.
Of course.
She's wearing two jackets.
Why are we being plural?
I don't know. A finals jacket?
Poor dog. Alright.
She tried to prevent the feeling of nervousness inside her. Nothing happened. Nobody came to door and told her that they got busy and forgot to close up. Screw it, she thought to herself. Somebody has to remind them to close. Derek took a deep breath of the cooling California air and pushed open the glass door. When she took a step in, the smell of must hit her.
Ew.
Must? Must. Alright. So they're going around, checking out the where is everyone. Turning back around to look at her left as she's about to leave was when she saw a person. Oh my god, she thought, struggling to keep her breath. This person was the hottest girl she had ever seen. The girl was leaning back in one of those swirly desk chairs. Her hair was styled messy and was around mid-length.
Styled.
Messy. Styled messy. The silky chocolate hair was half on, half off the teenager's face. The jawline had Derek swooning on her feet. It was pointed on the end, but somehow still squarish. Full eyebrows and visible dimples. This chick was fine.
Fine.
Derek noted she fine. Derek noted that this beauty was barely wearing making and still seemed gorgeous. I'm guessing makeup? Making. Barely wearing making. She stuffed her hands deep into her pockets. Hopefully Derek did that to themselves, not to Styles sleeping. Her breath was labored and quickly scolded herself for being like a puppy. Shit. Now I have to wake her up. Derek pulled one hand out of a pocket and ran it down her face. She couldn't even bear the thought of trying to wake up this stunning girl in front of her. Putting the hand back in pocket, she took a small step forward. How's the writing quality so far? How do we feel?
I mean, I would give it a solid D-.
D-. If I were your teacher, D-. Heard it from Rylyn. Right here, right now.
I'm also quite disturbed by what's happening. Continue.
But it's kind of stalky, a little predatory.
A little creepy.
A little predatory here. So, scoffing at her own cowardly behavior, Derek started to walk around the desk at a faster pace. Turning the corner on the old wooden desk, her stomach started to turn. It was a good turn, not like the vomity kind.
Oh.
It was the butterflies of nervousness, and the butterflies really wanted to flap their wings.
Ew.
Before she even touched the girl's shoulder, blush covered her face. Derek's hand started to shake a little bit, and there was nothing she could do to stop it. Now that Derek was closer, she could see the beauty marks that adorned the slightly tanned skin of the girl. The fact only made Derek more nervous.
Can you imagine just watching this in, like, the library?
I would call the police.
Walking back and forth.
Like, am I gonna wake this person?
Ew.
Ugh. Derek's hand made contact with the soft material of the girl's sweatshirt. The sweatshirt itself was maroon and said, Beacon Hills, cross country. She's a runner? Could she be any more perfect? Derek thought to herself as she so ever gently shook her shoulder. A feeling of terror washed over her. What if she screw this up? What if this girl not lesbian like her? Should she ask her out? With all these thoughts running through Derek's head, she didn't even realize the girl had woken up. All right, then. So, first words. First eye contact. First of all, I'm slapping whoever touched me if I wake up in a library, but I get a feeling that's not what's going to happen here.
No.
Styles fluttered her eyes open. Oh. Standing above her was, no joke, a freaking goddess.
Of course.
Her shoulder-length hair was falling in soft, natural curls. It framed her face perfectly, accenting her sharp jawline. Her eyes, nothing short of a miracle. They were captivation, and it made Styles go breathless for a couple.
Were
captivation. Pure captivation. Styles noticed that the babe was thinking about something else at that moment, judging by the fact that her hand was still shaking her shoulder with a very firm grip, she noted with a smirk.
Ooh.
Firm grip. She let her eyes wander over the body of this goddess in appreciation. This is a little weird. I'm so you're not used to this. That's what I was wondering. I'm honestly like, I don't think this is how. When I read fanfic written by women, no, this is never how it's like. Why would you gender bend the two dudes and then write it this way? Oh, so
you're talking about jawlines a lot.
A lot of jawlines. Yeah, I mean, man thing. Jawlines, we can't have them. It's a man thing.
Women don't have jaws.
Okay, women don't have jaws. So then we're like, oh, black leather jacket, combat boots, dark gray tee, which left nothing to the imagination. It showed a firm stomach and a well-gifted chest. Her titties, they're not out, but it left nothing to the imagination. Biting her lip, Styles about cried out in joy when she saw the tight, dark blue skinny jeans. They perfectly hung on the chick's hips and made her legs look amazing. Sadly, her ass was not visible from this angle. But she imagined it was very, very firm. When she realized this, however...
The shape is like just firm.
It's firm. It's a firm ass. That's not round, not curvy. Firm. Muscular. Solid butt. Styles really wanted to look at her butt, but apparently it just wasn't going to happen. Like, you can ask her to turn around.
I mean, I feel like she'd be okay with it.
At this point, it was gone. The mesmerizing eyes caught her gaze, and she froze. They both seemed distracted with each other's eyes, and Styles was okay with that. She gazed into the forced and whiskey eyes like the happiest person alive. On Goddess over here, she could look into her swirling depths and never get bored. Of course, Styles would never say this out loud. When the goddess looked away and turned red, Styles felt a rush of awkward come over her. A rush of awkward has taken me. A rush of awkward.
I can relate.
Yeah, she gave a small cough and stared at the floor. You forgot to close up, the goddess said, barely making eye contact.
It's just the goddess's voice washed over Styles. She resisted her instinct to close her eyes. It was low and husky, yet somehow still feminine. It fit her, and it made her all the more perfect. There was a long pause while Styles was being an awkward buffoon. Wah? Wah is the dialogue, the noise that came out of her mouth before she could stop it. How could I sound so stupid? Get it together, Styles. The goddess just looked at Styles for a second before repeating, you forgot to close up, or I guess you fell asleep. Yeah, I guess I did, Styles mumbled under her breath. It was still loud enough for goddess to understand what she said. It's goddess. It's literally just goddess.
We're not even going to ask each other names.
I'm Derek, the goddess said, and stuck out her hand in her direction. Stiles looked at it for a moment before taking it. Her hand was soft and fit perfectly into Stiles' hand.
Perfectly. We all knew it was going to fit perfectly.
Even in this cold temperature, it was very warm. It wasn't sweaty either, so that was a bonus.
It's a good quality in a hand.
A good quality in a hand is not sweaty, perfect temperature, and fits amazingly in your own.
Yeah.
You know, what more could you ask for? It's like the perfect hand. Styles, she replied simply, a blush covering her cheeks. This was so embarrassing. After this, there was no way the goddess, Derek, would go out with her. Derek pulled her handbag, put it in the jeans. How did Derek know that the library was supposed to be closed? And why did she come in here? These are thoughts going through the head. Basically, did you just walk in here? After the words came out, Styles resisted the urge to facepalm. God, how could she be so rude? This was just getting worse and worse. I was walking by when I saw that the lights were on. I came in to see why the library was still open. I saw you and woke you up. Styles barely caught all of what Derek said. The low hum of her voice almost lured her back to sleep. The husky undertone made Styles love this girl even more. Love. We're at love, folks.
Almost lured her to sleep. Is that a good quality?
I mean...
Sounds like she's saying you boring
You
AF.
boring. You boring AF. Oh, that makes sense, Styles said after another long moment. Thanks for waking me, I guess. Instead of replying, Derek just nodded. Styles could see she was a woman of few words, and that's okay. Actually, she finds it very attractive. This is definitely written by a man. This whole mysterious badass thing was working very well for Derek. Derek turned to leave without saying anything more. There was a goddess-looking woman in front of her, and Styles still needed to ask her out. Who cared if she said no? She was most likely straight anyway, but just in case, Styles needed to ask. Derek, wait, she yelled out. Getting up from the library chair, Derek was almost a couple feet from the door. During Styles' interspace musing, she had covered some decent ground, all because of those hot legs.
Oh my god!
As a lesbian, it would be illegal not to ask you out. So Styles made this little huffy... Styles said this a little huffy. The short jog from the desk to the door was nothing, but apparently Derek made her out of breath. Of course, tomorrow, 6 o'clock at Johnson's Diner, Derek replied to Styles like this was nothing. Styles grinned a stupid grin and nodded. She had a small blush on her face, so did Derek. After an awkward moment of just standing there smiling at each other, Derek made a move for the door. As she stepped through the small glass door, she gave a little wave. Styles' heartstrings gave a little tug, and her grin got even wider. Feeling compulsive, she yelled something after Derek. And I don't think I've told you the title of the fic. Have I told you?
I don't think so.
This makes no sense. Feeling compulsive, and also it's just gross.
Impulsive?
She says compulsive, not impulsive, but I imagine impulsive was the author's intention here. See you tomorrow, baby doll. And Styles stood there watching the door close behind her.
Really?
So that was baby doll.
Baby doll.
That was baby doll.
Why would we call it goddess?
I don't know. Goddess is used 500 times more than
Honestly, I
baby doll.
For a good, 3 paragraphs there, because every other word was goddess.
The goddess. The goddess. The goddess. Man, I wish my mans would just call me the goddess.
The goddess. No name.
No name. No name.
Don't get a name.
Goddess.
Goddess.
I am singular goddess.
Goddess.
All alone. So yeah. Wasn't that fabulous? Was that the best Teen Wolf Starg fic you've ever read?
I mean, it was pretty on par.
It's pretty on par with the other ones you've read?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. You know, it hit all the right points.
The hands.
Perfectly. Leather jacket.
There was groaning.
And moaning.
Yes.
Though I don't think they said the word moan. They just said like little huff.
Groan.
There was groan though.
I'm sure if it were to continue,
there would be some moan. There will be moaning. There's a part 2, Rylyn. Let me just pull it out. Okay. But yeah, I'll give it, of all the fics we've read here.
We've read a lot.
We've read a lot. We're going on like 40-something at this point if you're counting some drabbles. Maybe even 50 if you're counting our drabbles.
That's true.
I would say more believable than Tumbling Towers.
Was that the Harry Potter one?
It's the Harry Potter 9/11
one. And I'm right.
It was just so long ago.
It was a long time ago.
It's I probably could have written better. In fact, I have written better if you want to listen to episode 20. Episode 20 is fantastic. I did write that about my own Jewish heritage.
Yeah, it was.
And Kate Rylyn's love of Christmas. Was it Christmas? Rylyn's love of Christmas. Yep. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna rate it probably number 40 of all the ones that we've read. So is that a solid rating? Solid.
I mean,
it didn't really shock. It just kind of amused.
That's true.
You know,
It was expected.
Expected. Nothing
expected.
too
It was
wild. Pleasant.
It's a little creepy.
Little creepy, you know.
But then, what fanfic is not a little creepy?
That is very true. I don't know. Is yours creepy? Do you know?
We'll find out.
We'll find out. What fandom
speaking of,
have you chosen for us today?
My fandom is the one and only Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. Well,
this is a crossover between the Chick-fil-A restaurant and
the fast food chain that God has gifted us. I can't say that because I'm a Jew and they are not. But if I were to convert, it would be to the Christian religion.
The Christian.
For the sake of the Chick-fil-A.
I mean,
for it's
worth
the
it.
greatest.
It's worth it.
It is my favorite.
So
please do not shame it in this fic.
When you think Chick-fil-A, what's the first movie you think of?
The first movie I think of? Devil Wears Prada.
Exactly.
Okay, well there you go.
I made that connection too. So, this is the Chick-fil-A Devil Wears Prada crossover.
Excellent. Does Meryl Streep make an appearance?
Like I said, we will find out.
We will find out. Alright then. I'm ready.
And scene.
Scene.
I will not be doing, as we all know, my only impression is Rick from Rick and Morty. So I will not be doing any accents.
Okay, that is fine.
Fanfic that I'm fingering. Alright. Can you believe these idiots? Emily never even looked up from speed typing the notes she took during the last features meeting. What are you blathering on about now? Now, this is a test for you, because obviously I know, because I love this movie. Is Emily the girl at the
This is front desk? Me?
Yeah, this is a test for you. I know it.
This is Emily Blunt.
On you.
This is Emily, who is now assistant number 1 to Meryl Streep character.
Her name was Emily in the movie, and
yeah, Emily Blunt played Emily in the movie. Remember, because Anne Hathaway's name is not Emily. Oh my god, what is Anne Hathaway's character's name?
It's something weird. It's like it's something like
okay, it's Miranda Priestley.
Oh, wait, I guess we'll find out. Oh no, I see it on here. Okay, I remember now. Okay, Emily never even looked up from speed typing the notes she took during the last features meeting. What are you blathering on about now? Andy started pulling items out of the Smith & Walensky bags.
Ooh,
I passed by a Chick-fil-A on my way back from picking up Miranda's lunch, and the line was down the block. Classic.
If it's not down the block, then you're not at an actual Chick-fil-A.
Us Chick-fil-A fans know is that the line will always be down the block.
In fact, now we have 2 lines. Most modern Chick-fil-A's.
That's true.
2 lines. Drive-thrus,
it.
They gotta do it twice as fast.
You gotta throw it down.
Twice the pleasure. Twice the service.
Better pizza. Papa John's. And you were upset. Huh? And you were upset because you weren't able to stuff your face with something deep fried in grease?
Yes, I would be very upset because of that.
Well, who wouldn't that upset?
Yeah.
No. Andy pulled a set of silverware out of the drawer and carried everything into Miranda's office and set it out on the glass surface. Mm-hmm. Returning to her desk, she asked, "Haven't you heard about this so-called Appreciation Day? Unlike you, I do not fill my RSS feed with stories about fast food restaurants." I could not tell you what an RSS feed is.
What is an RSS feed?
I feel like I've seen that on the bottom of like websites, and I have no idea what it means. I've wondered for years. Anyway. We'll never know. Ooh, you would have to be under a rock to not have heard about this. The COO of Chick-fil-A is a huge supporter of what he calls traditional biblical marriage.
Oh,
We're getting
my
political.
God.
And recently made several speeches about how gay marriage invites God's judgment on our nation.
Wow. And yet, here I am, still supporting Chick-fil-A.
But, like, those nuggies. Though.
Those nuggies, though. Them waffle fries with that sauce.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Sorry. Not sorry. My name's Alex, by the way. This is all Alex.
Yes.
And Rylyn.
Yes, I'm Rylyn. It's a name. Mm-hmm. This is a surprise to you? Those religious wankers.
Wankers.
Remember, she's British. I'm not going to do it.
Those religious wankers.
Religious wankers have been going off on marriage equality for years.
That's quite good. That's like the Cockney accent.
Oh, okay.
It's like a little more Cockney than like the British.
I mean...
She's like more refined British, but
true.
we're gonna... She's
pretty posh.
She's posh. Well, there you go. You just did it.
Nigel dropped off a folder onto Emily's desk.
Stanley Tucci.
Oh, okay.
It's Stanley Tucci. the game with the bald and the glasses who makes up Andy.
This movie, even though it is my favorite.
Tragic.
Nigel dropped off a folder onto Emily's desk. My, Andrea, he said, drawing out her name like Miranda usually did. Since when did you become a gay activist? My family and I have always been fighters for equal rights and to put an end on political limits on love. That's pretty brave. With all due respect, I'm not being brave. I'm being a decent human being.
Wait, who is saying what? Emily is saying, I'm not being brave?
This is Andy.
Okay.
Saying, my family and I have always been fighters for equal rights.
Of course. And her whiny Andy voice. This is like pre-transformation.
This is like so like, yeah.
Okay. This is back when nobody likes her. Everyone likes her when she gets clothes.
With all due respect, I'm not being brave. I'm being a decent human being.
Oh my god.
I'm just for the cause.
For the cause, you guys.
Unfortunately, not all people think the same, Nigel shook his head. With sales booming from all the hungry homophobes, what can we do about it? We can protest!
Oh my god. Wait, is that actually what she says? We can protest. Change will come.
Why bother? Emily rolled her eyes.
That was on point.
Let the haters eat bad food. They'll clog their arteries and become extinct.
Honestly, my cousin once said, if smoking bothers you, don't worry. All the smokers will be dead soon. And I was like, I mean...
Although, the jewels.
They've taken over. Oh, not the jewels.
It's upsetting.
It's so sad.
Bringing it down.
Bringing it down a notch.
Andy ignored her coworker. I heard that a local LGBT equality organization is trying to put together a kiss-in at the restaurants, she said.
A kiss-in?
A kiss-in? Nigel raised an eyebrow. That could be interesting. He narrowed his eyes when Andy blushed. I think you've been holding out on us. Huh?
Oh my god.
While that color is gorgeous on you, playing dumb doesn't suit you. Nigel wagged his finger at her. Fess up.
Oh, is she lesbian?
Oh.
I thought she's with the dude in the movie, the cute dude, who I always was annoyed at, even though she missed his birthday.
Alex, this is a fan fiction.
You're right.
The fans wrote this fiction.
Well, the fans know that Andy is a lesbian. Calling it now.
I mean...
She's always been one. That's why she's so fabulous.
I get it. Which means what exactly? Oh wait, I'm sorry, I skipped ahead. I believe that love is a human experiment, not a political statement.
Human experience?
Experience.
Okay, I thought you said experiment. I was like, love is not real. It's just an experiment.
It's a lab experiment.
Lab experiment.
Which means what exactly? Like a lot of people, I experimented in college.
Ooh. Spill those deets, girl.
Andy said as she tossed her hair back.
Ooh.
Emily looked up and asked, "You're bi?"
Yes, because that's exactly how that conversation would go.
Exactly.
I experimented in college. You're bi?
Oh boy, get ready for this one.
I am.
Labels are for clothes, not people.
Oh!
Normal is just a setting on the washing machine.
Normal is just... Did you say that or is that you? Oh my god.
Are you saying that there won't be any girl-on-girl kissing for you? Oh. Whatever Andy was going to say was forgotten when she looked up to see Miranda standing behind Nigel with her hands on her hips.
Miranda's a lesbian too.
They're the lesbians.
They're the lesbians. They're gonna... Wait, no. Chick-fil-A would never... She would never stoop to the level of Chick-fil-A.
They're this fanfic.
They are.
This is the level of discourse when I'm not in the office. Obviously, you all need more work to do. Find some or I'll find some for you. Miranda threw her purse at Emily and stalked toward her desk. Andrea, come. Andrea, come. Nervously.
I'm picking up some signals, some signs.
Nervously, Andy smoothed her skirt and made her way to Miranda's office. Close the door. Andy obeyed and then turned to face her boss.
Ooh.
I think I know what's gonna happen here. Tell me more about this kissing, Miranda demanded. She laced her hands together and rested her chin on them. I will need to know the time and place if I'm to let my new public relations firm prepare.
My new public relations firm?
Okay.
Okay.
Prepare for what? For our attendance, of course. Of course.
Of course.
Andy opened and closed her mouth 7 times.
7 times? Specifically? 1, 2, 3.
Sitting there like a fish. She finally croaked. Well, yes, all I've seen are some very ugly people with their sacks of sandwiches and waffle fries, saying ugly things about gays and lesbians. I think it behooves us to show some beautiful people being supportive.
Aww.
That's cute.
It's kind of nice if she weren't doing it all for the image and the popularity.
She's doing it for that pussy. Miranda leaned back in her chair and gave Andy a slow once-over. You certainly qualify.
Oh my!
Andy had to force herself to keep from visibly reacting to being the sole focus of Miranda's famous scrutiny. She did shiver a little upon receiving a slight nod. There's always a shiver.
Always a little shiver. Goosebumps!
Smirking at the almost imperceptible tell, Miranda said, I don't want to have our first kiss on a dingy street, though. Why don't you plan on staying for a while?
Oh my god!
Tonight. We can use the time to practice.
Ooh!
Practice? Clearly, you are still feeling intimidated by me. I think it will look most natural if we can work out the kinks.
Oh my god.
The kinks.
The kinks. The kinks. The kinks.
Andy felt faint. Kinks?
Oh
well,
God.
I'm sure we'll have to do plenty of experimenting to figure out what works best. Naturally, all that yoga and Pilates I do has strengthened my core and made me very flexible. But I do have concerns about your stamina.
Oh my god.
This is
wild. Wildin'. This be wildin'
Her
right now.
brain nearly broke as she visualized just how flexible Miranda could be.
Oh my god.
Andy raised her hand in surrender. Miranda, wait. Please, just stop talking for a moment.
Oh no.
Closing her eyes, Andy forced her manic thoughts to calm. She tried to consider all the angles. She was aware
all
of the press.
angles.
All of the angles.
All of the
all
angles.
Of
Hidden angles.
She was aware of the press that Dan Cathy, Sarah Palin, Mike Huckabee, and others had garnered by advocating discrimination. She knew that Miranda Priestley was more than just a fashion icon, and her presence in opposition could help change the conversation from free speech or freedom of religion and back to the restaurant chain financially supporting hate groups.
So, basically, Andy is like, I'll do it for the cause.
For the cause. She's like, I guess I have to.
Oh my god.
Oh,
it's like, oh, you gotta. I didn't have a choice.
Moving from the political to the personal, she thought about her family. While her parents might have an issue with her getting involved with her boss, they always encouraged her to follow her heart, and they were supportive of her friends who were open about their sexuality. Right.
Follow her heart as her boss is sitting there going, we're gonna do some practicing.
Work out the
kinks. Yeah, her heart's a racing.
Opening her eyes, she looked at Miranda and admitted to herself that the possibility of getting kissy face with Miranda was making her sex clench.
What?
I'm upset that I had to read that out.
I'm very sorry.
Okay, if we do this thing, what exactly does that mean?
I don't
Miranda
need the
walked around her
details.
desk.
I don't need the details.
Here we go.
Oh,
and
no.
leaned back against it. My deepest disappointment has been that the men in my life could never keep up with me.
Oh my
I tend to get
God.
involved with the same sort, stylish, slender, who worships what that magazine has made me. But you have always been different. I mean, you didn't even know who I was when you started. Classic.
Classic.
They don't give
this
a shit.
This is like Christian
That's
Grey,
what I want. Exactly.
100%. Like you are the young innocent little girl who doesn't realize I'm a freaking billionaire. Let me take you to my sex dungeon.
I want it. Andy opened her mouth to defend herself, but closed it when Miranda shook her head. You've seen me at my lowest, Andrea. You've seen me and you stayed.
I think it's Andrea. Pretty sure she calls her Andrea throughout the whole movie.
I'm a big fan, okay?
This is your favorite movie.
You've seen me and you've stayed. Miranda brushed the signature curl of hair from her forehead. Let's go ahead. Let's take this chance. We might not change the minds of the bigots, but we can build something together.
Aww.
You believe there can be an us? I have hope. My God. Together we can live on it. End.
And see? Wait, I wanted them to go to Chick-fil-A. I thought
Really trashed on
I was so excited for my love. And instead it's like, oh yeah, you know that food you eat? Racist, homophobic, supports the bad peoples.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's a little less of a crossover and a little more of a cameo.
On Chick-fil-A's part. But, you know, I would rate it much more entertaining.
Yes, I was enthralled. I was drawn in.
You predicted the lesbian component so quickly. The relationship between Miranda and Andy. I mean,
like you said, it's classic dynamic.
Classic dynamic. You know, we featured a lot of wonderful women today.
Strong ladies.
Strong, independent ladies who don't need no man, but they'll take a woman.
A lady.
A lady friend. Yes. Finger my fanfic. Always bringing you the most finger-worthy fics.
We have our finger on the
Pulse of the fanfic nation. Of the fandom. The pulse of the fandom. So, now for our wrap-up, as you know, we like to end talking about what we're stoked on.
Oh, yes.
This
I forget
week.
what we usually do for a moment, but now I remember.
But now I know. I've done it,
From
you
the
know,
last time
like
we
40
recorded this
times.
podcast. We've done it a lot.
So, what are you stoked on this week, Rylyn?
Well, Alex, Ander. This week,
Don't say my full name on the podcast.
Oh no!
It's an identity. Alex and Alexander are two different people.
Alexander Hamilton, am I right?
Alexander.
Dun, dun.
Next week on Finger My Fanfic, Genderbent Hamilton. Here we come.
Oh boy, I'm sure it's been done.
It has.
I'm stoked on the newest season of Glow, the gorgeous ladies of wrestling. It follows our theme.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And I believe my all-time girl crush, Allison Brie,
She is a babe.
is a hot babe on that show.
Yes.
Unfortunately married to Dave Franco.
Yeah, it's a
so
bummer. It really is a bummer.
she's not available to me, which is very sad. But
So just Dave Franco. It's over. Not a fan.
yeah.
But yeah, that show is wild at times.
Thank you,
But
Dave Franco,
oddly-
for sponsoring this podcast.
Yeah, it's just really good. And
It's a good,
I'm a fan.
strong female ladies.
Yeah.
Love it.
And Alexander. And Alex, what are you stoked upon this fine week of August?
I am stoked upon. I am stoked uponeth this
Stoked.
anime. Yes, I know the horror in your eyes. It is very old, ancient, in fact, in the anime fandom. Considered one of the greats, one of the best of all time. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I've probably listened to the opening theme 20 million times by now. But as I showed my dear friend Brad, who occasionally makes cameos on this podcast, the other day, I'm his best fan. It's just something really cool.
I'm not jealous, it's fine.
You're not jealous, it's fine. Anyway, I showed him the lovely dog chimera scene today, which is where everyone stops watching the show. Continue, it's worth it, even though you are greatly disturbed in episode 3. You know, maybe just skip that episode. It's fine. But anime,
Stoked on anime because I love anime. Alex has never not liked anime. Alex, myself, I am a lover of anime, and anime is not just porn. It's anime. It's fantastic, so I'm stoked upon that.
I honestly thought that Full Metal Alchemist was a band, so that's
It's a great band name. It would be a great band
Is
name.
there a band that has some similar name to that? I feel like there is.
I think so. Rage Against the
Never know.
Alchemist.
Rage Against the Alchemist.
It's a good name. So, Rylyn, before we go, what should we remember this week?
Well, Alex, you always need to remember that you have to practice so that you can work out the kinks.
The kinks.
The kinks.
Excellent. Thanks, everybody. do, 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 do. Do that as the outro.
Hello? Hello? Is anyone out there? Can you hear me? It's Alex. I'm transmitting this from the future. Our time machine. It was stupid, but it worked. But we have so much work to do. Alinity has screwed up so much. I can tell that the algorithm has had so many more repercussions than we ever could have imagined. I had this fear that like the Oceans movies or the Ghostbusters or all the interesting and cool characters in Star Wars, we've been replaced with women. Don't worry, though. Don't worry. Hold out. We will be back. It might take a season. It might take two, but Ryan and I will prevail. Don't lose hope.